Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the beautiful state of Utah. We're here in the middle of a very inspiring place, a huge apartment complex, to discuss rental properties. So today on Real Estate Done Right, we're going to talk about the 10 numbers you have to know to correctly analyze a rental property. Okay, now these are kind of preliminary numbers because as you dive into these numbers, you might kind of learn some things that you kind of add some numbers to the search. But there's at least 10 you have to know every single time. But for now, let's go inside because it is actually freezing right now. It looks sunny and warm, but it's well below, it's like, I think like 25 degrees right now. So let's go and head into the office. So the first thing is debt service. This is by far the biggest expense of a rental property, is how much your monthly payment is going to be to the bank, assuming you didn't buy it cash. But most people don't. They might put like a fourth down, get an investment property loan, and here's their debt service. Debt service refers to it's a principal and interest payment. And those are easy to figure out by yourself. Online, there's a bunch of calculators that you can plug numbers into. Or if you have a financial calculator, like on your phone, which I do, I just plug it in right there. In 2 seconds, I know my exact, down to the penny, how much money I'll be paying every month on that property. Now, numbers 2 and 3 are taxes and insurance. Kind of goes hand in hand with that overall payment that goes to the bank. Usually taxes are listed on the listing, right? So if the property is for sale and listed with an agent, there's a little box, hey, what's the annual taxes and tax estimate? So that's easy to find. Insurance, you might have to call an agent to get a quote on that specific building and location. But you want to know all those numbers. You want to know what that payment's going to be. Now, if you take the numbers 4 and 5, which are like your current rents and the market rents, if those numbers are smaller than that debt service number with taxes and insurance, obviously it's a no-go right off the bat, unless you love it and want to put extra money down to bridge that gap further. But for most people, they got a fourth down, they're going to put it down and buy it, right? So you have to know current rents, obviously, and you have to know market rents. Now, most properties being advertised for sale, the agent will say, oh, hey, it's below market rents. Rents can be raised, right? Exclamation point. I'm always skeptical, because if you could, then why didn't you, right? What kind of a landlord would just throw money back at his tenants for years and years? Some people do. They just don't ever raise their rents because they became friends with their tenants. And so they're trying to help them out. But usually what I've noticed with that is the place is kind of a dump, and they really can't it's below market rents because it's a below market property. And so, you might try to raise the rents. The tenants, maybe they'll stick it out and they'll pay more because they can't go anywhere else. Or maybe they move out, which is common. They'll move out because it's like, oh, $200 more a month, I'm offended, and they'll just go somewhere else. But can you get someone in realistically or not? I want to look at that very objectively. Now, for the market rents, I always ask my property manager as a professional. Okay, I don't look for for rent signs available at what places are being advertised for per se. Like just by driving myself around the neighborhood, I call a property manager. With their software, they can see like what things are actually renting for, because someone might be saying they're shooting for this, offering a place for this much money, but maybe they're not going to get it, right? Until it's rented at that price, it's a grain of sand to me. Now, the next set of numbers is there an HOA or not? The places around me right here, huge HOA fee. I think it's worth it. I've bought and sold a lot of these for my clients in these types of neighborhoods, where it's like just kind of big fourplexes attached together and that kind of thing. But it's about $170 a month per door for the HOA fee in this complex, and then other ones that are like it that are nearby. But it's worth it because of what it covers, okay? And I'll talk about what it covers towards the end after I go through more of the numbers. So next thing is utilities. What are they and how much do they cost and who pays what? Is the place, if it's a fourplex, are there separate electric meters? Or is it just one that comes in the whole building and you don't know who's using what, and it's in the owner's name, right? And they just you kind of maybe get reimbursed a little bit on a set fee from the tenants. Same thing with water. Are there separate water meters, or is it in your name? Is it sewer and garbage are usually up to the landlord, Is there like an internet charge that might come with the HOA? If there's not one, that might be something that you want to know about, right? Am I paying the internet and getting reimbursed, or is it a perk of the rent? Like, what do the current contracts say? Okay. And then whatever other kind of costs come up as you're just looking at the property. Know who pays what. Next is management fees. I don't want a job, and most people don't want a job of managing. I work for brokers that manages, so I guess it's a bit different, but it's like, I'm not like a full-time, like lawyer or doctor, and then I get a phone call at night to fix a toilet or a garbage disposal or whatever, right? So I think it's always good to have properties managed professionally. Then it's an investment versus a second job, and it's way easier to do a way better job than I ever could. They can run credit, they can evict people much easier, they can take people to court to reclaim if they did too much, like more damage than their deposit covers. Take them to court and get me reimbursed as the owner, right? Way better to have it managed professionally. But I want to know what those fees are, have my company chosen that I like, know their fees, factored into the deal. Now I want to know the historical annual maintenance cost. Now maintenance is things like, okay, is this on a rotation, something just breaks, is this older place, something just breaks, it's garbage disposal 1 month, a few months later, tune up the furnace, a few months after that, dishwasher goes out, a few months after that, I got this, I got that, right? When people move out, I gotta just repaint and do this and that. What are those costs? And also things like, am I having to pay for snow removal, or for like to have someone mow the lawn? If there's like a shared lawn at the fourplex, and it's not in an HOA that covers that, I gotta now send someone out to mow that lawn, once or twice, or once a week, or maybe every other week, right? Depending. So what is that gonna be? Like, well, how much does that cost? And then the last thing I wanna always look at is the upcoming capital expenditures. That's things like, big things like, okay, the roof is like 25 years old, and okay, it keeps water out, but within a couple of years, it has to be replaced. Okay, water heaters are 12 years old. Yeah, they still work, but upcoming, they have to be replaced. Furnaces, air conditioners, right? Windows are just really drafty and leaky. Maybe the whole outside the paint's peeling and needs to be redone. Those larger items, I don't like to plan cash flow to take care of those things. I just kind of look, okay, usually I'll build my numbers out, I'll get the rents, I'll minus out all these other things. If I've got like maybe $400 left over or something like that, which used to be not much, now it's considered good in this market because it's pretty hot right now. I know, okay, $400 except for repairs. But then I know I can bolster a management account, and then I can fix a disposal, new dishwasher, things come up kind of out of the blue. No problem, the cash flow is going to cover those things. But things that are bigger, like it needs a new furnace for $3.5, $4 grand. It needs a new roof for maybe $10,000 or $12,000. Those items, I want to make sure that I'm buying the property at a good enough price that as I do those bigger things, the value increases like more than what that costs, and so I'm gaining that value back. Okay, if I buy it at top dollar, right? I mean, how many months of cash flow does it take to then do a new roof? And if I didn't buy it at a discount for needing a new roof pretty soon, I put the money to a new roof and then I still don't have any more money left over. Like the value is still the same, right? So that sucks because it ate up so much cash flow for a long time without benefit. So the upcoming capital expenditures, that I don't really care how the cash flow works out so much because that's not paying for it. I want the value there, okay? The property that I walked you guys through in Orem, bought it for 800 grand, and it's like 2 weeks later, a comp popped up for 900 grand, and it sold like that, right? And that's a new comp, 925 new comp. So we have like over 100 grand of equity in each of those fourplexes, and they'll need new roofs pretty soon. They all need to be remodeled. Not all, but most need to be remodeled. There are those upcoming CapEx expenditures, but the value's there. So as my client fixes it up, the value grows exponentially. Keep that in mind as you're looking at those bigger items. The discount on the property and the value growth pays for those things, but you need to have the funds available to do that. You want to build a deal proper to where you can do those things and keep a nice place to live for people, not be a slumlord and that kind of a thing. So now in closing, one thing I'll add is that if you're ever investing in a different market, personally I think when you're new, you should always invest in your local market because you know your own market the best. When you start to travel other places, it kind of opens you up to maybe make some more mistakes because of what you don't know. So just be very thorough in your due diligence in who you talk to multiple people about something. For example, one time someone approached me with they had 3 homes for sale in I think it was Peoria, Illinois. And they were super cheap, had decent rents. I'm digging into it though. As I'm doing my due diligence, one I found out that, yeah, rents were this, but people were late and not paying, you know what I mean? But the houses were super old, bad part of town, falling apart. Okay, I can maybe deal with that a little bit. But the kicker was that the city had this weird a law where you had to attend a city meeting. If you're on property, once a quarter, you have to attend or you're fined $100 per property or something like that, right? So I'm like, well, okay, that's a weird thing I never heard of before. But I called multiple brokers in that area, and one of them's like, oh, hey, you're out of state, you should know about this. And right there was a deal killer, okay? But someone else probably bought those because they're being marketed over here in Utah, where houses are more expensive, right, harder to get into. And someone I'm sure bought that and didn't even ask that question, and they're gonna get fined $300 a quarter, or they have to fly back and attend a town hall meeting. So kind of just a weird thing, right? So you never know what might be somewhere. So do your homework really good. Plug in these 10 numbers every single time. And if it looks good after that, go for it. So awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry I got a little bit long, but I hope it was some good information for you. If you like these videos, please like them, please subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks.